So I've gotten some questions on how to do the main research packet, and I thought I would show you some, give you a bit of an explanation, and then show you some of the links that you can use. Okay, so you'll have two other packets like this, so the instructions will be very similar for this, for all three. Okay, so what you're gonna do here is you're gonna look at sources. Okay, and we're gonna do that first. So if you go on the document here, and also on Schoology, you can click here where it says Schoology links to resources. And then here you have a whole range of things you can use to help your research, okay? And the reason I chose these are primary sources, okay? Remember, we're trying to find primary sources instead of just using secondary. It's okay to use secondary, but that shouldn't be the only ones you use, okay? So we're just going to look at each one quick. So Library of Congress, okay? Click there, click here. Okay, so let's just use Rosa Parks. You go to Rosa Parks, okay? And assuming it loads, you know how the government works, it's pretty slow sometimes. So, for instance, you can look at some different papers, okay? Just like different papers she wrote about, people wrote about her. You can look at, books she owned, some of her private information, okay? Especially so you can get some pictures here and some letters, okay? Yeah, and then so you see a lot of pictures, you see some documentaries, see a few other things. So you can all use these are all primary sources, okay? So like if you're looking, this is especially helpful for when you are doing your project. If you need visuals, this is a great place to find some, okay? So that's the Library of Congress, all right? Then they have the National Archives. I think it's archives, but we'll see. So click here. So yeah, this has more just records of important things more than anything else. But again, we could do like civil rights, okay? And then you'll have here are some sources you could use, right? So, I mean, there's JFK's televised address to the nation on civil rights a few months before he died, I think. Just different things you can use. It goes here, civil rights in the National Archives, and then you have different you have different pictures, you have different things to look here, right? And you can use all of these on your project, all right? And let's see if there's anything for Rosa Parks. There might not be, but we can just check. Okay, it looks like there are some things. All right, so yeah, so there are some things like this looks kind of interesting. So like the arrest records of Rosa Parks, you can look at that and talk about what those are. Okay, so that's what you'll find a lot of. It's more just documents than just pictures. Okay, then you have the American Memory Project. All right, so this is basically just primary source materials relating to the history and culture of the United States. Okay, so let me click here. All right, and so you can do a few things. So let's say you want to look at some. This is a bit more specific. All right, so here you can do things like, okay, let's search. So again, let's use Rosa Parks as the example. Okay, so yeah, so you get a few things like the Rosa Parks papers, and this is kind of what we were looking at before, right? So this one's a bit more specific. So if you're looking for a specific thing, like here, it's like it talks about the African American Odyssey. You can look at all these different primary sources that go into different aspects of that. All right, this one's a bit more specific, but if you're doing things about African Americans or women or conservation movement, which is like climate change, etc., this would be good for that one. Okay, so chronicling America. So sorry. Let me do that again. Okay. All right. So let's go here. So if you're looking for newspapers, okay, this is a good resource. Specifically, newspapers that are for events that happened before 1963, okay? Because legally, anything before that is legal for them to make. Anything after that, you have to pay for. So if you're looking for newspapers, stuff that happened after 1963, you should talk to me. I know where to find some on the web. Don't tell the FBI, but I have some places. All right. So again, Rosa Parks. Okay. So you can find a number of things, right? So for instance, you look in here, like the Miami Times 1956, they have a little story that says those arrested included Rosa Parks, a seamstress, who appealed a $14 fine levied in city court for refusing to move to the back of the bus. And you can see here, actually, she was sentenced 14 days in jail. All right, so that's just an example. Here's another one. And then here's the talking about Rosa Parks again, where she was talking about one of the conventions that she and Dr. Martin Luther King wrote about. Okay, so these are just some examples, right? But these are some good papers that you can use that mention what you might be talking about. So if you want to get some newspapers of the event when it happened, this is a great place. So, yep, Chronicling America. Okay, so docs, teach, documents. So this one is also kind of specific, but it's basically, it looks into different documents that are pretty significant, like family trees, receipts, arrest warrants, some informational films. It kind of depends. This one's like a kind of a bet and hope you win kind of thing. So you go let's just do Rosa Parks, see if they got anything. Okay, so they have a few things. So this is kind of interesting. So they actually have like a diagram of where she was seated on the bus. So you see like there's the door and she was right here. So that's an example. They have, Barack Obama there. Okay. Yeah, so the progress, and then if you're wondering about the boycott, for instance, the Montgomery boycott, this actually talks about it right here. Okay. So this one, so it depends. Like if yours is more famous, like Rosa Parks, you might find stuff. This site's a little dodgy, but this one's teach, documents. Okay, so then you have the African American Registry. So this one's specific about African Americans. So if you're going to talk about the Chinese Exclusion Act, this is not the place to look. But if you want to talk about, say, Rosa Parks, you might want to try and see what they got. So we're going to do Rosa Parks. Okay, my birth, May 22nd. I expect a cake. Thank you. So yeah, so this one's a little harder to find. You kind of just have to like hope, but let's just try and do more of a specific thing. So I looked through this one, it wasn't as great as I thought it would be. So it's a little hard to find as well. So yeah. So this one's more of a hope you might get something, you might not. So if you want to find something, this one's better. This is also African American history, but this actually has stuff you care about. So Rosa Parks. Right. So here's it has a lot of pictures. It has a few other things, like text. So you can talk, like here's an interview she gave. Here's a fingerprint card of Rosa Parks. Here's a sign talking, like a play that was made about it. The police report on her arrest. I think it has her obituary here. So the play guide too. So this is kind of interesting. So you can find things like that. Video. They do have some videos here that you can look at and news clips. But a lot of them are after the fact, so they may not be super helpful, but you can at least see some of her talking though. Okay. Yeah, so sound. Yeah, just some interviews mostly. Physical object. Okay. So it looks like someone made like a bust of her and then a cool thing down there. So yeah. So that's Umbra. All right, Umbra, and that's much better than this one. This one's kind of hard to find stuff. And then finally, the last source I'd recommend using is the Digital Public Library. So it says it has like 7 million resources from libraries, archives, and museums, able to search through exhibitions, maps, and timelines. All right, so again, Rosa Parks. So you might get some of the same stuff as the other place, but it still is not bad stuff. It's good too. So yeah, a lot of pictures here. For instance, like you can look at her. Yeah, one sec. You can look at her. So I can't remember one of these is. Oh yeah, here we go. There's her mugshot. So some of the other women around the same time who were arrested. So you can go there if that interests you. Um, yeah. Let's just look. See, they got some text. So yeah, this is similar to the other place. So it has some of the same resources, but has a few different ones too. So diagrams, just some testimonials, stuff like that. Okay. So moving image. Let's see. So yeah, again, this is similar to the other place, right? So it has some different interviews with her. Okay. So that's what you'll mostly find, right? So this stuff. So the I guess the main point here is that there are a lot of resources here that can really help you research. Okay. Um, so I would try looking there and just seeing if you can find things. All right. If you need any help, you can always message me. I'll keep going through looking through the packets that you turn in, and I'll give you some more websites if I feel you need some more, and I'll give you some pointers, and I'll give you the okay. So yeah, if you have any questions on anything I said here, please let me know. Okay. All right.